Note, however, that there's a risk here. Imagine that you create a variable name within a conditional, but then the conditional doesn't run. In this code, when it reaches line 3, it judges that my num1 is not less than my num2 because my num1 is 2 and my num2 is 1, and so line 4 never actually runs. That means line 4 has no scope. A variable's scope begins on the line on which it's created, but here the line on which result is created never runs. So result is never created and the scope never begins. As a result, when we try to print result on line 5, we find that it's out of scope. And as a result, we get this error, this name error, that says the name result is not defined. It's not defined because even though it's defined on line 4 is never run. Now, the best way to resolve this, in my opinion at least, is to never create variables inside a conditional that will need to be accessed outside the conditional. And in fact, most languages that I know won't even let you do what Python is letting you do here. If you tried to do this in Java, for example, it would immediately tell you upon even trying to run your code that result does not exist on line 5 because it's created inside of this code block. For Java, the scope is actually defined by the code block itself. And when a code block ends, any variables created inside it no longer exist. Personally, I recommend following that convention, even though Python technically lets you get by without doing that. There is another way around this issue though. If we're going to create a variable inside a conditional, at least create it inside each individual branch of the conditional, and make sure to include an else to make sure that one branch of the conditional is guaranteed to run. So in this code, we're once again creating result inside of our code blocks controlled by our conditional. Line 5 will run if and only if my num1 is less than my num2, but line 7 will run if and only if line 5 didn't run. Either this if block or this else block is guaranteed to run, which means that result is guaranteed to be created before we get to line 8 and try to print it. Now once again, Java wouldn't let you do this, but Python would let you do this. Once again though, I personally don't recommend doing this. I recommend creating any variable at the same level at which you'll need to access it. Here we're accessing result at the minimum level of indentation, so we should probably create it at the minimum level of indentation as well. We can always change the value of it inside those code blocks, but why not create it first?